Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for tuning in to our show. I really appreciate you. For sometimes you have realized that we no longer talk about Ruto's mission in Haiti. Haiti was very important and it was a very important topic to discuss because one, it was the brainchild of Ruto's masters, Joe Biden, and it was an instruction that William Ruto could not afford to go against. It was the only agreement that Ruto had not implemented because when William Ruto was assisted and planted as the president of Kenya, it came at a cost. There are several things that they had agreed, and even though we were not there during the negotiations, we could see what transpired after William Ruto was sworn in. Because immediately he was sworn in, he lifted the ban on GMO, genetically modified materials, that had been there for the 10 years that Uhuru was in power. Then came the LGBTQ, a hot potato topic that really left Ruto exposed because Ruto was giving us a face of a man of God, yet at the same time, the US was giving him pressure to accept the LGBTQ. So what did he do? He worked with Madame Kome, the president of the judiciary, and they accepted. They said the Supreme Court ruled that the LGBTQ community has got the right to association. Then came the loans from IMF. You know that we are in it with a lot of conditions. So the only thing that had not been implemented, because all the ones that I've mentioned were implemented, but Haiti was blocked by the courts, but William Ruto still said it was on course. In the middle of the court ruling that barred Ruto from taking 1,000 policemen to Haiti, Ruto signed a deal with the former Prime Minister, Ariel Henry. And it didn't end there. It is something that caught even the first lady, Madam Rachel, who said we are praying for our policemen despite the court orders. Thanks to God Himself, who Rachel wanted to pray to, that Ariel Henry resigned, and that meant that it was a fiasco kind of mission. So when there was a transition that was a presidential transition body that was placed, Ruto said that they were waiting for the appointment of another prime minister so that he could continue with this mission of taking 1,000 soldiers, policemen to Haiti. But as we speak, I want to read you a report from Haiti, and I'm reading from Voice of America. It says the unexpected naming of Prime Minister divides Haiti Transitional Council, because this was the council. The persons that you see over there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people, are the members of the Transition Council that was to oversee the peace in Haiti and to appoint by an agreement a prime minister to take over from Ariel Henry so that they could also oversee steps to getting into a general election or a presidential election. It further says that a surprise announcement that revealed Haiti's new prime minister is threatening to fracture a recently installed transitional council tasked with choosing new leaders for the gang-riddled Caribbean country. It further says 4 of 7 council members with voting powers said on Tuesday that they had chosen Brice Belizia as prime minister, taking many Haitians aback with their declaration and unexpected political alliance. The council members who opposed Belize, who served as Haiti's sports minister during the second presidency of Reign Preval from 2006 to 2011, are now weighing options including fighting the decision or resigning from the council. A person with direct knowledge of the situation who did not want to be identified because negotiations are ongoing said the council's political accord had been violated by the unexpected move and that some council members are considering other choices as potential prime minister. So the council that had been appointed to appoint a prime minister is already divided. The members are divided. Just like the IEBC in 2022, we have four members who ganged up and they appointed a prime minister without the knowledge of the other three. In the IEBC, it was the opposite. Cherera 4 distanced themselves from the results that were being announced by Chebukati and the other two members. So what is happening here is very simple. Ruto is taken aback because he was waiting for this council to announce a new prime minister so that they can sign another agreement before he takes 1,000 policemen to Haiti. But now the mission has backfired because the council itself is divided in the middle, and the prime minister that was chosen by just part of the council members, the others, because they are nine, but we only have five with voting powers. You know, William Ruto really was targeting the money in this mission. That was the main thing. Apart from the fact that it was an instruction from the US President Joe Biden, there was a lot of money. Of course, some money had been wired into his account, in his pocket, as part of training, because you know that Haitians speak French while we speak English. So the policemen who were to be taken to Haiti were to undergo training for French language. Of course, there are allegations that we had an advanced team that had gone there, including the policeman who died mysteriously in the USA. But this has really dented and exposed William Ruto and Joe Biden himself. Because you know the council, the UN Council, Security Council, sat later and extended the number. They said that that Haitians needed even more policemen than they had originally projected. So this was going to give William Ruto even an impetus to request to add more policemen, and you know with that it means that there would be an increment in funds, because anything that you see William Ruto getting his hands into, there's a lot of money. Haiti, climate change, if when you see him championing for something, there's a lot of money coming in. Now people were really shocked when William Ruto was pushing this agenda, yet the US that initiated and perpetuated this mess were evacuating their people from Haiti and even safeguarding what I understand is their embassy there. Yet William Ruto really was pushing this agenda. It was so serious that the USA did not send any policeman, rather, they sent their marine, their soldiers. So people were asking William Ruto, why would you consider taking policemen if America themselves do not want to send policemen? Instead, they are sending their top-notch military guys. But be that as it may, you know that anything that you see William Ruto and Joe Biden getting their hands into, there must be a mess, because already the council that was appointed there is divided in the middle. This has exposed them because the hidden mission is now very clear. You know, the Haitians had said, including Jimmy Chariza, who was heading the rebels, that all they want is an election, free, open, and fair election, so that they can elect, Haitians can elect their own leaders. But US has got the penchant of installing leaders. So even in this case, there are external forces that are already, you know, with vested interest, that are already, you know, poking their nose into the mission of unveiling a new prime minister. They've already unveiled the four council members have already a former sports minister. But it is not, it is something that is dividing them because they have not unanimously agreed on it. So the mission is very clear. Instead of giving Haitians their right to vote and give themselves a leader they want, they are now forcing in, even in the second, this second vision, they still want to impose another prime minister that will champion their own interests. And this mission has already been exposed. And like I said, it is the reminiscence of Ruto's ascending to power when the IEBC members did not agree unanimously. There were four who opposed and three accepted. So you can see, whatever they get into, both Ruto and Joe Biden, it can never be smooth. It can never be seamless. There has to be a lot of controversy. And US and Ruto really like a lot of controversy. It also exposes William Ruto as a very insensitive puppet in this kind of game because he does everything that the US instructs him to do. There were pictures and videos that were coming of cannibalism when the rebels were now roasting their fellow human beings and they were eating them. And we were worried, even here in Kenya, that the kind of situation that we wanted to subject our soldiers to, was very pathetic. That at some point they would be killed, we would not even see their bodies. Killing one person is painful, but it is even more painful when you see your fellow human beings eating the bodies of your loved ones. William Ruto has been pressurized to explain one thing. What interest do we have in Haiti? And he has no answer to that. All that is telling us that we cannot keep, sit down and watch the people of Haiti suffering. But have you asked yourself where the rebels get the weapons? They took over airport and government institutions. They went into police cells and released those who were in jail, and they were telling them, we are releasing you so that we can go and emancipate our country. And the situation was bad. So as we speak, these people are delaying and they're denying William Ruto the money that he wants. They're also exposing William Ruto and Joe Biden their hidden agenda. They need to allow Haitians to go for an election rather than appointing who to become a president or a prime minister. But I fear that even if they go for an election, the body that is managing that election will be infiltrated by the powers that have got vested interest. Like now, they're already messing up with the expected appointment of a prime minister. So I don't know what is going to happen, but William Ruto will have to wait. And I know he's really not very happy about this. He wanted this to be expedited very fast so that he can get the money and show his masters that he was ready to do this. Anyway, we wait and see, because we no longer talk about Haiti, because Kenya is already bedeviled with quite a lot of problems. We are being ruled from the US, as I've always told you. William Ruto is a conduit taking instructions. We want GMO, PAP. We are even selling, we are in the process of selling our state corporations, including the seed corporation, so that we can allow the US to take over. Animal feeds will be GMO. Human food will be GMO. In fact, I don't know how it is going to look in the next 10 years if William Ruto will still be there. But the country is going to be a small state of USA. The only difference will be it is going to be a state riddled with a lot of poverty, because we're already slaves to the IMF and the other institutions. I don't know what you think, but that is my take.